All right, let's jump right into Thursday night football. As always, we've got our primetime parlay for you that we will get to in just a moment. But Jets plus 12.5. Our total is 43.5 here. Dave, what is the model like tonight?
53% on the Jets to cover, 53.8% on the under, 43.5. You get a little 3% edge on the Jets, 1% edge on the under. Jets money line is at 13.9%. So no edge there at plus 610. Fair odds would be plus 620. So you're basically getting it. If you think they're stringing together one more win on a short week, then you're getting a pretty decent price there, just not any value as identified by the model. I'll pull up our full predictions here and we'll go through this together. So Jets are on their best run, if you can call it that, of the season, covered in 3 of their past 5, but so are the Pats, covering in 5 of their past 6, 7-3 on the year against the spread. And this is a pretty big spread, as is. I was looking back at some of the other big spreads of this year, and it was more often than not the favorite did cover. But sometimes, those longer ones, they mostly involve the Titans and the Bengals playing good teams. So make of that what you will. But Garrett Wilson's now ruled out of this game, re-aggravating the knee injury in Week 10. So the Jets' skill position players are Breece Hall, Mason Taylor, Tyler Johnson, and trade deadline acquisition Adonai Mitchell. Not a lot to write home about there. All that said, gut kind of says it's a little trappy of a spread. It's so big on a short week in a division game. As scrappy as the Jets have been, as poor as they've been scrappy, keeping games somewhat in reach. So it's certainly in play. The model likes it. It's one I think I'm just happy to stay away from. I wouldn't go against the model here and take the Patriots to cover, but it's just something I probably won't touch as far as that's considered. Lower side of the total. Teams are combined 12-7 to the over this year, but you got to figure if the Jets are going to cover this, it's probably going to be all defense and it's going to go under, which is what I would lean. Certainly the model does favor that. No real value, as I said, 1%, but it is, preferred by the model over the under, over the over. But yep. So fluky game for the Jets last time too. The 2 special teams touchdowns, I think, outscored their entire offensive production. Probably not going to pull off 2 punt return touchdowns again. And the Pats have absolutely crushed the last 2 bad teams they faced by 18 and 19 points. So, that's my
just when you say you can't, that's when the Jets bring it on. No, spot wise, I'm not surprised that the model leans Jets here. I think this is a huge number, and say what you want, but I do think momentum can be real in the NFL, and the Jets have now won 2 straight games. Nobody knows how they have done it. But despite trading many of their best players, this locker room has not fallen apart. That is at least a testament to Aaron Glenn. I'll make it all about myself like I always do, but Glenn was the defensive coordinator for the Lions the last couple of years. Dave, he was a part of that Lions team that had a similar turnaround. Remember, in one of Dan Campbell's first seasons, they started the year 1-7 before finishing the season 8-8 and really making a run down the stretch. We've seen him be involved in how did they do that locker room turnarounds before. I'm not saying that's here to stay for the Jets whatsoever, but I do think it's a testament to the guys that are there that they haven't given up on this season. And this is a scary spot to me. I agree with your analysis that if you like the Jets side of this, the better play is the under. To me, that still leaves you a little bit of room for like a 34-3 Patriots win, which, I could certainly see happening if the Jets just can't move the football at all. We'll get to this in some of our angles for this game, but I think there is one Jet that at least has my attention here, and it is Breece Hall. So I don't know. Do you want to take us through the angle here? Would you touch Breece Hall against this vaunted Patriots running defense?
Not like from a rushing perspective. I mean, he's like the last man standing here in MetLife from both teams, really. I mean, Giants and the Jets, everybody's dropping like flies or getting traded. Publicly frustrated with not being traded at the deadline. Didn't slow him down last week against a very good Browns front. 125 total yards, 83 on the ground, but they're not quite as dominant as the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots are allowing 59 rushing yards. No, sorry. I don't know why I don't have it here, but I think it's under 60 rushing yards per game to running back specifically. Hall's got 3 games with 100 rushing yards, 2 more with over 100 total yards. So I think there's some receiving angles in play, something we'll talk about in a little bit. No spoilers. But the only time the Jets played an elite run defense was in London, but he was held to 59 rushing yards versus the Broncos. His line's at 56.5. So not one that I'm really excited to bet on. We do project him for 69 receiving yards. At least I had that in my notes. Let me check to see if it's updated here. 67 now, but that's certainly over his line of 56.5. Supports 60 plus, which is probably plus money, 70 plus if you want to push it. But
is that the rushing or the receiving? Rushing?
Brees Hall rushing. Yeah.
I was gonna say, okay. I just want to make sure. I was like,
oh, sorry. Yeah.
I might have misheard you on that. So call me crazy on this. I'm with the model on this. I'm going to play a small Brees Hall rushing ladder here in the hopes that this is a weird voodoo Jets keep this closer than you think game. But I'm entirely tied to the volume here from the first game post trade deadline. 21 carries last week against Cleveland in a game where, mind you, they were short a couple possessions because of the special teams touchdowns. They have 2 more possessions. He might finish this game with 30 carries. He hadn't been over 20 outside of one game earlier this season against the Broncos when he had 59 rushing yards on 22 carries against Denver. I think that's a similar type approach to what they're going to try and do against New England. Oh, you're a good team, good running defense. We don't care. Our only way to hang in this game is kill clock and feed the ball to our best player. Now, look, it might take him 30 carries to get there, but I genuinely believe he might get 30 carries in this game. And, it's been a couple of years. He didn't have 20 carries in a football game all of 2024. Wow. He had a bunch back in 2023 and went over 95 yards, a couple of 100-yard performances in those games. The Pats rush defense is for real. But to me, Aaron Glenn's only way to hang in this game whatsoever is feed Brees Hall as much as you possibly can. Our model agrees. I mean, 13 yards projection higher than his line. It's pretty sizable to me. So I am going to play a small Brees Hall ladder from 60 up to 100 and hope that we get an ugly run-bound football game.
Yeah, you've talked me into it. Now I got to see what the odds are like. Hopefully they get up there pretty nicely once you hit 90 or so because of how good the Patriots defense is. And it's albeit a pretty light line for Hall. But yeah, supported by the model, just one of those, you're going to have to fade the best rushing defense in the league if you do so. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, volume should probably do it, honestly. So
I'm going to look it up, too, just so we can tie a bow on it. But if you want to take us to our next angle, I'll come back to what the odds look like for a Brees Hall ladder.
Yeah, we're staying on the ground here. Looking at the Pats backfield, Ramondre Stevenson ruled out yesterday, 3rd week in a row now, opening the door for Trevion Henderson to follow up his best game of his young career with another one. This is really the game I think we were all waiting for from Trevion Henderson. He's gone 10 for in the games without Ramondre, 10 for 75, 14 for 55, and 4 catches for 32 yards in that game. And then this past week, 14 for a mammoth 147 and a pair of rushing scores. Before Ramondre was ruled out, we did have Henderson already projected for the better game. The model already kind of picking up on that changing of the guard there. 42 yards and a 50% TD probability to Stevenson's 37 and 49. As you can see now, we've got him up to 53% probability, and it looks like 76 rushing yards. My eyes are not very good. So, yeah, changing of the guards probably here. And I saw this stat when I was doing my research. Henderson's 2 touchdowns on Sunday were longer than every single play of Ramondre Stevenson's career but one at 55 and 69 rushing yards. And Ramondre Stevenson's a bit of a fantasy darling. Like, I think maybe we've conflated his PPR cheat code usability with how good he can actually produce, and Trevion Henderson as well on a path to taking over here. So it's all him in this game. I mean, he's like 180 to score a touchdown, very clearly the favorite. I don't think anyone is even within, you got Stephon Diggs at 37% or so, within 15% of Henderson, but Jets are allowing 104.6 rushing yards per game to running back, so it could be another big game for the Rook. Also one to look at, maybe 100 each on the ground for them could be a fun little play. And as far as Drake May, who is basically the second leading rusher for the Pats without Stevenson, not a huge mark, but the Jets do allow the fifth most rushing yards per game to quarterbacks, 25.9. Drake May was plus money for that before Ramondre Stevenson was rolled out. Probably not anymore. We have him for, looks like 26 yards there. 26 yards. So pretty much right there in the projection. Do with that, I guess, what you will. But could be another big game for Trevion Henderson is the long-winded way of what I'm trying to say.
Running backs. That's the angle for us tonight. I certainly see the vision. Any running back against the Jets is usually worth it. Travion's line's a little inflated for my liking, but you can totally see why. Back to Brees for just a second. So he is plus 106 with DraftKings to hit 60, plus 182 to hit 70, plus 296 to hit 80. You're catching plus 475 for 90, 7-1 for 100 yards. I am going to play all of those. I'm going to play it up from 60 to 100 in a small, maybe 2-unit ladder play here. And looking back just a week ago, right, obviously the Pats rush defense has been amazing. Some game scripts have certainly turned teams away from running the ball against the Pats. Last week, the Buccaneers ran the two-headed monster of Rachaad White and Sean Tucker against this defense to a combined tune of 19 carries for 91 yards. There's no one in the Jets backfield that is going to touch the ball except for Breece Hall. And respectfully, they don't have Baker Mayfield out to throw the ball 43 times in this game. Even if they load the box, Breece is dynamic to break 1 to 2 runs. I think this is my favorite play by far for Thursday night football.
Yeah, pretty good. It's Sean Tucker, best rushing performance against the Patriots all season last week with 53 yards, I believe. So, you talked me into it. I'll ride that with you, backed by the model for the 60 plus, which is plus money. So even if you don't want to climb the ladder, you're getting very good value at just his over even. So,
yeah. All right. FanDuel's got the Thursday night football jackpot. What's the play tonight?
It's not RBs. The only thing we're going to do not RBs for me, it's Hunter Henry. I like my tight ends in these spots. Jets are among the bottom third of defenses against tight ends. 0.8 touchdowns per game is actually the second worst mark in the league, only behind the notorious Bengals tight end defense. Hooper's ruled out. He's only a couple targets a game, but Henry's clear tight end one tonight. Keyshawn Moody's also out, so some targets vacated there as well, like last week. 34% touchdown probability, or 33%. And 7.9% to score first. Last I checked, 7.7% to score first. So third highest in this game, actually. Probably won't be as deep of a cut as he might seem. But, Trevion Henderson will probably get you a $15 bonus bet if you bet him in this. So why not take a little bit more of a swing? Hunter Henry and score first or last, and leave yourself with a little extra bonus cash, hopefully.
Love it. All right, Hunter Henry it is. Thursday Night Football jackpot on FanDuel, one of the more fun promotions that you can find week to week. Hopefully that can cash for us and we can smile about it next week. Without further ado, let's turn our attention to our Thursday Night Football same game parlay.
Thursday Night Lotto.
In the 30% boost that you can get on this at DraftKings Sportsbook, we can get this all the way up to almost 9-1 odds as it stands without the promotion, plus 650. Take us through it, Dave.
Yep. By the time I placed this bet after writing and publishing the article, it was plus 700. So you might even get better odds at this point. I left it as is because that's what I wrote in the article and I wanted things to accurately reflect that. But The aforementioned receiving angle for Breece Hall here, 15 plus receiving yards. Obviously we talked about the tough matchup on the ground. Are giving up 38.1 receiving yards per game out of the backfield, though, which is the 7th most in the NFL. And the receiving core is absolutely depleted in this game. Tyler Johnson, Mason Taylor, and Adonai Mitchell, again, the top receiving options. None of them clear 36 yards in our projections. Breece Hall has hit this in 5 of 9 games this season. He's landed on 14 twice. Could have just fallen forward a little more and gotten that. 3 targets in all but 2 games. Long catches of 15 plus yards in 3 games, including 41 or 42 last week, which accounted for about 95% of Justin Fields' passing yards. He should get his looks. Best player on the field tonight. Dimers model projecting for 18.2, just over this mark. Hunter Henry, guy we just talked about, over this 33.5 receiving yards. He's over in 5 of 10. Most of those did come in the first half of the season, but should have a chance tonight with Hooper and Booty out. 37.5 yards projected against the Jets defense that sees 7.3 targets, allows 45.1 receiving yards, and as mentioned, almost a full touchdown per game to tight ends. Henry's the second most targeted player on this offense through 10 games, and without Booty, he's the second leading receiver of any Patriots that will be on the field tonight. Pretty modest line for him to get here, which he has gotten for us in prime time before. And Stephon Diggs touchdown to close it out. Scoring 3 straight games. Sorry, we're looking for him to score in the 4th straight games. Bit of a weird season for him. Spiked with a pair of 100-yard games in back-to-back weeks in the middle of the season. After going scoreless, though, for his first 7 games, he's finally breaking through, getting a little more comfortable in this offense, even if he's not putting up the barn burner numbers he used to. Bit of a familiar opponent here for the Jets, if you give any credence to stuff like that. But all 3 of his touchdowns have come from inside the 20. He's brought in 8 of 10 red zone targets, which is 5th best for wide receivers in the NFL. Second most likely touchdown scorer in this game behind Henderson. There you go, Stephon Diggs, 36.6%. All 3 of these legs, as mentioned, plus 650 or even better perhaps at this point. And here's what we're rocking with tonight, Thursday Night Football.
Boom. It's good to see my guy Breece involved, even if it's through the air rather than on the ground. But there you have it. 3 big names: Hunter Henry, Stephon Diggs, Breece Hall. Lock it in. Let us know if you do. And hopefully we can all cash some tickets together on Thursday night.